Welcome to Stargate SG1 for the first time still, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Aiken, and I'm watching Stargate SG1 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Delenn, and I'm also watching Stargate SG1 for, well, the 47th time. But for the first time, I am looking for what Stargate is trying to teach us. You know, those lessons that hold up a mirror to society, give us hope that things are going to be better in the future, or just tell us how we can be better human beings to one another.
Speaking of better human beings, this week's episode is called Politics.
Yes, it is.
Probably not about better human beings, but I want to dive into it and find out. Brent, why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so this is episode 21 of the first season. This is a penultimate episode. As you may imagine, I'll just let you know, it is kind of a bottle episode. Save some money for the finale getting ready to come up. Original air date, February 27th, 1998. The show is written by show creator Brad Wright and directed by Martin Wood, both names we have talked about before. You're going to hear those many more times throughout the run of this show. Now, in this episode, Jeff, we get a great Star Trek crossover.
What?
Yes, you are going to know it immediately. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. You're just going to have to wait and find out.
Okay.
But it's you're just gonna be like, yeah, I promise you. And it'll be fun to compare the character here and the character there. They're not anywhere near. They do not have the same job. Let me just put it that way.
Okay.
It's not that sort of a situation.
Very Armin Shimmerman, right? Who very different person as a Nox than he was in Star Trek or Buffy or anything else.
Yeah. We get another Wizard of Oz reference in this one, so be on the lookout for that. But Jeff, with that, why don't we go ahead and jump into this episode? For you folks out there, if you're joining us for the first time, here's how this works. Jeff and I are going to watch this episode, Politics, right now. Like, we're going to do it here live right now for the first time. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, you're going to get the reaction video. If you're watching us on Patreon, hello to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for your support. You guys are amazing. You're going to see the uncut version running through exactly how it goes. And if you're interested in finding out about more of that uncut version, head over to patreon.com/Babylon5 first, because that's where we have our Patreon stuff.
If you're listening to this on an audio podcatcher, welcome. It's awesome to have you here. But we're about to skip the episode and come right into the discussion where I'm going to share my for the first time reaction, and Brent is going to share any of those sci-fi messages that he may or may not have found in this episode. Brent, let's do this. Uh-oh.
Beware the destroyers. That's what the message said. I was experiencing an alternate reality.
And you were there, and you were there, and there's no
There
place
it
like
is.
home.
As a matter of
There it
fact,
is.
you were there.
Daniel, it's not that we don't believe you.
So you do.
No,
It's just we
that
don't believe you.
We don't believe you.
Jack, this is very important.
All right.
Teal'c was leading the attack on Earth. I wasn't even part of the program. You and Jack were engaged to be married.
Excuse me?
Hold the phone. What?
There's no
Okay,
sexual tension here.
Even if you did actually
She
experience this
totally
alternate
hiccuped
reality,
there.
Doesn't the
Did you
very
see
fact
Jack?
that there were differences mean that we won't face the same fate?
Yes, but the defining event, the death of Ra, took place in both worlds.
An attack of retribution.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
In the last episode, I was upset that, what? It's just going to happen? Like, there's nothing that suggests that it will actually happen in this reality. They're addressing that right here. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, because they really didn't clearly hammer it home in the last episode the why.
Yeah, I
It was
bagged on it
just,
pretty hard.
it's
for that.
going to happen. Oh, well, okay, I guess we got to go with it then. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool that they're kind of giving us, here's why I felt that.
Yeah.
Senator Kinsey has taken a great deal of interest in the program. Thus
He
far,
visited before,
he hasn't
right?
liked
Senator
what he's
Kinsey,
seen.
we saw him? Or they just talked about him?
Sorry to hear that.
The guy that taught
As you should be, Colonel.
was Secretary of Defense, I think.
It could mean the end of the Stargate. The hearing is at 1400 hours. I look forward to seeing you all there.
He's got the slicked, greased back hair and everything, doesn't he?
That would be the Stargate.
They're Area 52.
Unofficial project.
That just happens to cost $7.4 billion a year to operate.
7.4.
The President and the Joint
Billion,
Chiefs
yeah.
thought if they granted the senator the appropriate clearances, let him in on the existence of the SGC, he'd recognize its importance to national security and authorize the expenditure. After reading your mission reports and being fully briefed by Colonel Samuels, the senator decided the SGC will receive no further funding from the Treasury.
That effectively shuts us down, sir.
Very effectively.
Very.
Cost nearly $1 billion just to turn the lights on around here.
How about a bake sale? Yard sale? Garage?
Make some brownies, right?
This is what I look like when I'm not laughing, Colonel.
Understood.
Car wash?
Oh, there he goes. He got him. He got him.
It's just, I don't get it. How does one man get that much power?
You almost feel like that's Richard Dean Anderson trying to make Don S. Davis crack.
Yep.
And he did, and they cut it into the episode. How does one man get that much power? Here we go.
Well, yeah, it's a good conversation. We can talk about it later, but that question, doesn't president outrank senator? And I'll tell you, the answer is no. It's not how it works. Entirely separate branches with entirely separate responsibilities.
There you go.
A certain congressman who will go nameless just does not know how to take no for an answer.
Oh, look at that!
Is the infamous SG1.
Who is it, Jeff?
It's Clarence Boddicker.
No.
That's Jellicoe, man.
Yeah, Ronnie Cox, baby.
Yeah.
And
How
I'll tell
cool
you,
is that?
he's going to get a lot more screen time in SG1 than he
Really?
did in
Oh, it's so awesome.
The Stargate represents a giant step in our understanding of the universe. We have learned more about astrophysics in these few months than in the last 50 years.
It also gives us insights into human cultures that are thousands of years old.
Dr. Jackson, I'm sure as a scholar of ancient mythology, you are familiar.
You know, it is an interesting thing. The mandate is to bring back technology.
Yeah.
Right? I've never thought about that before this moment right now, but what Sam just said is actually really phenomenal. And frankly, probably makes this entire conversation mute. What she just said was, we've learned more about astrophysics in the last few months than we have in the last 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't tell me that you're not getting good stuff from the start. What if you learn about astrophysics and you learn all that kind of stuff? What can you start doing? Forget what you're bringing back, what you're scavenging from out there in the universe.
You can develop it.
You can bring it up. You know, and I mean, Jeff, what do we always talk about with the Prime Directive over in Star Trek is the people have to evolve. Like, you can't just hand them the technology because they're not ready for it yet. Like, they've got to evolve it themselves, right? We're going through that process here. Like, I've never thought about it until she just said that. Like, actually,
Yeah, it's like
that is the worth.
Yeah.
Like,
So we're not giving you the technology, we're giving you the math
Yeah.
to figure out the technology.
Yeah.
And you're still going to develop
and
it yourself.
We're teaching this to you and you're seeing how it actually works, but you're reverse engineering it. You're figuring it out, which means you're ready to hear it. Daniel says the dumbest thing of like, yeah, we also get to understand ancient Earth cultures. Yeah.
And here, right, immediately, Jellicoe is jumping on that. He's just like, no, I don't think so. But to play devil's advocate for Kinsey, I'll give him his due. But for Kinsey, cool, you're advancing astrophysics. That's good. I'll give you that. Is that worth 7.4 billion taxpayer dollars?
Is developing warp drive worth $7.4 billion a year?
I can say yes because I know the end, but right now they don't. Kinsey doesn't know the end, and he can't. And
What do
he
you
has
know the end? This is 1998, Jeff. They've seen Star Trek. They know the end.
We're doing the warp core, man. Come on.
Seriously. To develop replicators because you understand how that works? Like, seriously. Like, the technology is there, and if the U.S. government owns the patent, then how much money do they make on
Yeah,
that?
it's a pretty
Anyway,
sweet thing.
We can have this conversation later. I just need that wasn't really for
Here was the story of Pandora. Let us build our billion-dollar machine and we will save America from the barbarians at the gate. Let me remind you that the Cold War is over.
And let me tell you something. This time there really are barbarians. They're called ghouls. And they really are at the gate.
That one! Then I suggest we close it.
Senator, we have reason to believe that the Gould are about to launch an attack in force in ships.
That's the important point.
Then I think they'll regret taking on the United States military.
Can I show you this staff?
Oh, you're right. We'll just upload a computer virus into the mothership.
With Will Smith,
If
right?
they come in ships, Senator, we won't be any match for them.
There's
At their level of
1,000%
technology, they can wipe us out from orbit.
I'm not convinced of that.
They speak the truth.
I'm not entirely convinced of that either.
General, what the hell are we doing here? This man has made up his mind already.
Sit down, Colonel. When I've made up my mind, you will know it.
that.
Colonel.
That's excellent. That's, hey, I understand. I don't see the bigger picture here.
I gave
help me
the
out.
president.
And just really subtly, he's like, yeah, I do see the big picture. You need to sit down. This is the right thing to do. This isn't the hill.
Jack trusted him.
Mm-hmm.
Jack trusted him, which is so good.
Do you stand by SG1's record?
Yes, I do.
It's a loaded question.
Then let's just go through it, shall we?
Yeah, we're going to go through all the cherry-picked places where you effed up.
Uh-huh. You killed a sushi guy. Let's talk about that.
Skara was chosen. I tried to stop them from taking him away, but was struck by an alien staff weapon. In that moment, Apophis gave the order.
Kill the rest. Man, Teal'c looks so young.
Such a long time ago.
I mean, it's not, but he does look so young.
Well, I think a lot of the makeup's quite different. It hadn't figured it out. He's got, like, he doesn't have all the stuff up here.
People. Help me!
Many have said that. But you are the first I believe could do it.
The lights are out. That's the message.
Yeah.
So that was a long clip. Is this are we watching a clip show?
Jeff?
That is a clip show?
This is a clip show. That is a clip show.
On our return to the Stargate, I became pinned down by enemy aircraft.
We're just gonna watch the whole pilot again.
No, we'll just the finale scene.
Just the expensive parts.
That's a great shot. I've never appreciated this. Jack and Teal'c both on
right,
you know, side by side.
Foreshadowing of what is to come.
What's happening?
It's just SG2 returning on schedule, Senator. There's
The
nothing
iris
to worry
never
about.
closed.
Right.
Oh, I disagree, General. I think it is something to worry about. You seem to have defeated them handily at every turn.
They actually killed us once.
There is that. And they killed some of us many times.
Right?
Like, let's just talk about the fact that our bullets are totally useless against them. Our primary weapon does nothing.
Goa'uld technology can generate energy shields around individuals. They can do the same thing with whole armies.
And ships. And have you ever seen one of these ships?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Ooh. Pulling a clip from the film, Jeff.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I can definitely hear the different sound engineering.
Yeah. So the idea is the pyramids are landing pads, landing platforms for their ships. Is the idea for the movie. So you see that's actually a pyramid underneath there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, yeah.
It is the ship of the Goa'uld Nuti, an enemy of Apophis.
Admittedly, these Goa'uld are a dangerous race.
More dangerous than you could possibly know.
Well, if they're so strong, why did you switch sides in the first place?
Because what is right cannot be measured by strength.
Hello.
Ooh, I love that.
Your world values freedom.
We'll be hearing about that later
I
on.
wish that very same freedom for my people.
Well, I don't want to appear callous, sir, but I believe that's your problem, not ours.
It will soon be yours as well, Senator Kinsey. For the Goa'uld are as powerful as they are evil.
Shouldn't we take
The
democracy to the
Goa'uld have
Goa'uld?
enslaved a galaxy of worlds.
I don't care.
Well, they probably don't have
about other
oil.
worlds.
So.
I like the intensity that Teal'c is going after the senator with this.
Yeah.
And the senator's just looking at him.
He got nothing to say.
Standing toe-to- I mean, but he's not even flinching at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
He holds all the cards, you know, but
On your
also
return
Teal'c,
from
like,
the Chulak mission.
he's the one who can sell
Became
this.
Infested with a Goa'uld parasite, correct?
He very nearly destroyed this facility.
Oh yeah, maybe that's a thing you should think about. One of them who's not even actually a Goa'uld, Jafar or whatever, did that much damage.
Well, I'm
Herpes?
afraid I have a serious situation. It appears we've brought a very
I'm trying to remember what
contagious
episode
disease
this
through
was,
the
and I
Stargate.
don't remember what it is.
This is the one where they were all
Yes, sir, that's right.
I intend to shut the Stargate down.
Spoiler alert, there's 9 more seasons and a couple others.
right. Already signed on for 2, right? At this point, 2 seasons. so-
Senator, please listen to
I
me.
think he's made up his mind, Dr. Jackson.
You want your one reason? I'll give it to you. What if I told you I knew that they were coming? In ships.
Jack's like-
What if I said that a ship larger than the Great Pyramids was going to land right on top of this mountain in a matter of weeks, maybe days?
Then I would be curious to know why you've waited until this moment before saying so.
Because I didn't think anyone would believe me. And if I
But
didn't
you
live
told
through
me
it
all this
myself,
other
I'm not sure
stuff.
I would, but it is a fact. And if you shut this program down, you have robbed us of our one chance to stop them before they get here.
Where did you learn this information?
On our
In the
last
mirror
mission,
universe.
we came across a civilization with a level
Duh.
of technology similar to our own. They had been wiped out. They left behind a warning. Beware the destroyers.
Hammond knows what's
Sir.
up. He's just like, this isn't gonna work.
Where do you get this bureaucratic bull? You're talking suicide.
You know, they are on Showtime here.
underestimate
They
this
could have
great
just said
nation. It
bullshit.
is you who underestimates the enemy.
Tell him,
We
Teal.
have challenged Apophis. He will not rest until the people of this world worship him as their god.
There is only one God, sir.
And that's the United States of
And
America.
I do not believe for one moment that he will allow what you're trying to tell me to come to pass. We are, after all, one nation under God.
And you think God is gonna save us?
Tell him, Jack.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry it had to end like this.
F you. Get out.
I just
Get
want
out
somebody to
of
throw
here.
Yeah.
something at him.
Right.
Just a tennis ball or something, like
General Hammond,
sticks in his greasy hair.
I would like to request permission to return to the Stargate before it's permanently sealed.
Because I'm not going to die with you stupid people.
Our commander-in-chief has given us our orders accordingly. Expect you all to carry them out.
Stand down and die. Those are the orders.
Here you go. Nice little money shot there for you. You see that, Jeff? To be continued.
Boom, boom, boom.
All right, Jeff, we have just finished watching Politics, a clip show that was actually a clip show. You for the very first time, me for the umpteenth time, but me watching for the first time looking for messages. Jeff, take us through it. Your experience of watching Politics for the first time.
This has been a super episodic show so far, right? And we've talked about this a number of times. Episodic, kind of a thread, holding things together a little bit. This is the first real serialized moment. Like this picked up like the next frame from last week, just continuing on Daniel's. I thought that was kind of cool and a nice change, and it makes sense given the story we're heading into. And I was really excited for this. Like they started setting up this really cool story, and there's a couple points that I want to talk about specifically around the politics of running an operation like this. $7.4 billion a year. That's no joke. To put that in perspective, in the state of Oregon, we spend about $10 billion a year in our healthcare, like for our Medicaid stuff. That's for a whole state. And like 3 million, a couple million people's healthcare. So
I don't know. I mean, it always seems small potatoes to me, considering that Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion like it was nothing.
Hell,
I
apparently.
mean, maybe not like it was nothing, but still,
But still,
it
is interesting. Like,
but the Denver Broncos sold for just over $4 billion.
But that's total valuation for a company or an organization. This is $7.4 billion a year.
That's probably going to go up, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I work in the public sector. I'm a government guy. I worked in budget. I am personally responsible for just about, how much is it a year? About $30 million a year is my total-ish spending authority that I have. And that is called, like literally our CFO calls that budget dust. Like I am budget dust, $30 million. Our total.
Meaning it doesn't matter.
It doesn't even matter.
Nothing.
Yeah. We're a massive organization. We have I think a year. We have a biennial budget, so 2 years, but I think every year our total budget's right in the neighborhood of 20 billion. And that's for one agency in a small, population-wise, small state. So that's a sizable amount of money for one operation that they're doing. I want to talk about
Jeff,
the politics
just
on that a little bit.
Just for clarity, I would like to. I'm putting in a calculator here, an inflation calculator.
Oh,
all right, $7.4 billion from 1997. Let's just say 1998 because that's where we were.
Yeah,
1998. Oops. To 2023, which is when you and I are recording this. All right. 7.4 billion back then. Today is worth, let's see, what is that? About $14 billion.
Oh my God.
In today's money. 14 billion is really what we're talking about.
Wow.
Okay. Again, Denver Broncos were just sold for 4. But I mean, listen, I'm not trying to stir stuff. How many times have we authorized $40 billion for foreign aid?
Right.
Recently.
Yeah. Well, and I think to my point of 30 million being budget dust in the federal government, 14 billion is budget dust.
Yeah.
In my world at the state level, we talk billions and millions. The federal, they talk trillions and billions. And by the way, I just want to point out, just my moment, that's your money that we're talking
that they
about.
take without you actually saying that it's okay.
Yeah. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pontificate my little bit.
Jeff, I'm going to let you do that. I need to excuse myself for just a moment. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Pontificate.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. I hate paying taxes. I feel like it's theft. I feel like I have very little say in the matter because we have a representative government here in the United States, not a democratic government. I go on and on about all that, but it's what it is. So I have to pay this money. But I'm also a public servant. That's what I do. If you live in my state, your dollars pay my salary to spend your money. It's what I do. So I have a belief, right? And that is if I walk into a 7-Eleven or a Walmart or a Kentucky Fried Chicken, or whatever, and I spend $1, I give them $1. I expect $1 in value back. Now, it's cool if I get more. That's above and beyond, right? That's some customer service going on there, but my expectation is $1 for $1. So the way I operate my business is for every dollar I take from you, I want to give you $2 worth of value. It's the least I can do. And I have a pretty strong track record of that, and I believe it's very possible for government to run leaner just through better management. In fact, I think of government officials specifically in the executive branch, what like federal agencies often are part of the executive branch, state agencies, the same. They give managers and leadership and stuff were actually held accountable to performance, to accounting, to fiscal responsibility. We could shave a couple zeros off of what's going on here, but that's just me. That's just somebody who's been doing this for 2 decades, spending your tax dollars. That's all that is. So that's my little run. It's a thing I feel very passionate about. I've been successful with, but demand that of your government as well.
Absolutely right on.
I want to come back and talk about some of these political pieces because for me, after I had the initial response of like, oh my God, it's Captain Jellicoe here on Stargate. How cool is this? After that response, Brent, this turned into a clip show.
Yeah.
And not just a kind of clip show, like a lot of full, very long clips.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to our Patreon and you watch our unedited version of this, I'm going to do a quick impression of big chunks of this on this episode.
For the audio listeners out there, Jeff is just currently sitting back in his chair with his arms folded, lips pursed, nodding his head, going, I've seen this before.
Yep. It's a good chunk of the episode. Then we had, some conversations on this side. But as I was thinking about it, if I remember right, there was a pretty sizable like mid-season gap for this, right?
Yeah, from October to January.
Yeah.
Halloween to January. Yeah.
It's a good chunk of time. Yeah. And I would imagine a new show coming out, and it's kind of sci-fi-y and it's based on a movie and whatnot. Probably had an initial like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it wasn't big. But as it was growing, people are at work talking about it and getting their friends watching it. So when they came back from that mid-season break, they probably had a lot of new viewers.
Sure.
So to your point, we got to save money because we got a big finale coming. We're going to throw a bunch of our budget into that. So we need to have a cheap episode. Also, let's bring all of our new viewers up to speed.
Sure.
So it was annoying that it was a clip show, but it makes sense why it was a clip show.
I said the exact same thing about Now for a Word from Babylon 5.
Yeah, right?
It's as a person who is binging this show, who is watching it the way that we're watching it and has watched it since episode 1, I don't need this show. This show is superfluous. Yeah, it gives you an idea of what stuff's like back on Earth, but guess what? I kind of knew that already. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a surprise. This show, and now for a word meaning, served the purpose to catch people up on what had been happening. It just did it without being a clip show, which was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal piece of writing.
It was really well done.
was not nearly as phenomenal with this one.
Yeah. So this whole thing was interesting. Senator Kinsey, right, comes on board at the SGC to make it defend itself, justify your expenditure. You made a point while we were watching this that the whole point of this program is to go out and get technology and bring it back.
Right.
And they failed to do that so far.
Yeah.
So top line, dude's the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. It's his job to figure out where the dollars go. He's asking the right question. Is this worth that much money? So then the crew starts trying to justify it. And Captain Carter's the only one who's making any sense.
Mm-hmm.
We're exponentially increasing our knowledge of astrophysics, which has all these applications, whatever. Daniel goes down a rabbit hole that Kinsey grabs onto, and it turns into a whole argument about Pandora's box. Anyway, as they're having the argument, I feel like Kinsey's not necessarily wrong through a lot of this. He becomes very wrong later on, but as in the beginning, I'd say like the first 2/3 of the episode, I can completely understand where he's coming from. The questions he's asking, the doubts he has, they're not giving him any compelling evidence now we see the compelling evidence in the clip, but he's not watching the clip. He's reading their reports of things and countering it. Like, you ran away from this big, dangerous ship on foot, and we're fine. I'm supposed to think that's a threat?
Yep.
But then he turns into total government guy of, well, yeah, so you went there and you stopped that virus from spreading, but if you hadn't, and if this happened, and if, I'm going to develop policy around these 16 ifs I just lined up. Now, I'm not going to listen to your ifs, but my ifs, those are justifiable, so I'm going to make a decision based on those. You had mentioned we're going to see more of Kinsey, and I think I'm excited for that. This guy's going to be an excellent foil. He is, and I don't mean any offense to anyone out there, but he's like the proto-Trump. He's the proto Make America Great Again. It's the level of aggressively willful ignorance that he has, where like, yeah, they're going to come here. America's going to stand up. They can't stand up to our stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, we shot these guys with our assault rifles. It didn't do anything.
You want to know actually who he reminds me of when I think about it? You remember it was the TNG episode, First Contact.
Okay.
It's one of those episodes that every sci-fi show does at some point or another. You go to an alien world. There's the president, the guy who like, oh yeah, these are aliens. Let's be cool with them. Let's introduce them. We should be awesome. But oh yeah, my like chief of security, #1 guy is like super opposed to these guys being here. And he just wants to shut the whole system down. And, we're not that. And if I remember right, that episode ended with them not being ready for admittance into the Federation and not being part of. They were going to cloister themselves and pretend like they didn't. That like nobody else outside of their world existed.
Exactly.
That's who this guy reminds me of. Like, nope, we're just gonna do our thing, and we're gonna be right here. And to the point that you're comparing him to President Trump, it really is. If I just point to it, that I think the point where it really got to me was where he pointed to his chest and he had the American flag, and he said, "I've got to protect the citizens of this country first. He's got to be about this first." Yeah. And there's a lot of people watching right now. I love you. I salute you. Who are like, yeah, that's right. You're a United States senator. You care about the United States citizens first. I agree.
Yeah.
You're also now a part of a galactic community. Yeah. And you're literally representing the entire world. That being it, I think something we've learned, World War II, lots of other places. Being isolated does not work.
Doesn't.
It just does not work. We have to have a global mindset.
Well, I think in a lot of sci-fi, Star Trek being, and this isn't a Star Trek podcast. We've talked about a lot of it, but it's really a good comparator.
I think this is our third reference. So
30th, maybe, maybe. But first contact for Earth was with the Vulcans, right? They came and we achieved warp drive, and they came, they saw it, and they made first contact with us at one of the worst points in human history, right? Depending on, like, if we are pre modern Trek, there we went through the eugenics wars, we went through World War III, the Bell riots, all these horrible. I mean, the world was a nuclear, becoming a nuclear wasteland.
Yeah.
First contact, we understood that we're part of a galactic community and a unified Earth. We look at Babylon 5. There's still nation states, that exist all under United Earth, who united because contact was made with the Centauri, who introduced them to that galactic community. I think the thing that in this
I'm sorry,
is,
Jeff, can I peel that back to our own actual real life history? Just here in our own country of America. Sorry to everybody else internationally. You had 13 colonies, considered themselves 13 separate independent nations, states of their own, had a common enemy, and they united. And thus is born the United States of America.
Yeah. Happens time and again. And I think that what this, we, in a lot of the sci-fi that we watch, we talk about it being prescient and showing us the, a glimpse of the future. And I think that's what this is in a way, because Kinsey's response rings true in that there are going to, when the alien conspiracy is unpeeled and we find out that we've had contact or whatever, when that happens, there are people who are like, no, I got to take care of my country. Yeah. Not understanding that it doesn't matter. Like they're going to blow all of us up, or whatever. So it's kind of scary, to see that here and to understand and to see it kind of happening, in our little way, and seeing the potential for it to happen when we are introduced to the greater galactic community.
Right.
The thing ends with Kinsey making the decision to cut funding. He doesn't think it's worth the money.
Yep.
Hammond, Tilk is like, well, then I'm out. Like, if you're not going to fight the Gould, that's why I'm with you. It's because you're fighting the Gould. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to go back. I'm going to find somebody else. O'Neill wants to go with him. I'll go too. Hammond just shuts him down. Hammond is like, my orders are to cease operation immediately. I was disappointed in Hammond. I expected, my orders are to shut down operations immediately. Sure would be unfortunate if somebody were to activate the gate within the next 6 minutes while I'm checking this thing over. Like, he'd slip in something, but he just rolled over. Hammond lost some cred with me in this episode.
Okay.
I'm withholding real judgment on that because I know there's another episode coming, right? And so, but just my initial response is just like, really? Like, you're just gonna.
I will say this about Hammond. Hammond is a good soldier or airman, whatever he is. He does everything he needs to do, but he also is in the chain of command. And this is what he's told to do. This is where he is. This is what he does. And you know what he doesn't do? He is not the guy looking for a loophole all the time. He's not the guy doing the wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like when he says, I expect you to follow it, he really means I expect you to follow it. So
it's fair. It's his job.
It's what he does.
And he clearly said, right, the orders from our commander in chief are this. And this is a piece I mentioned in the episode, but I want to talk about it a little bit here now. But they early in the episode, they're talking about that. President thinks you guys are great, thinks we need to keep you secret. wants to continue operations, but this senator over here, thinks we need to shut you down. O'Neill says, doesn't president outrank senator?
Yeah.
And they do not. He does not. America, we've got 3 branches of government system, right? Judicial, executive, and legislative. Senator is part of the legislative branch, and the president is the head of the executive branch. People often think of the president as being the whole executive branch, but in my rant earlier, I talked about how like most federal agencies, state agencies, things like that are the executive branch. As an aside, many, many years ago, I won the primary election for state representative for the Libertarian Party. I did not run for that. Had no idea. I wasn't a candidate. People wrote me in or whatever, and I was selected. I was working for the state in the executive branch, and so I was like, I got elected to the primary. Maybe I'll give this thing a shot. So I put in a conflict of interest statement, with HR, as you do, and they're like, yeah, you can't. It's actually
Wow. Something just happened to Jeff. He went away. Oh, there he is.
That was weird.
There he is.
Literally just kicked me out. Said something went wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. Hope that doesn't mess our files
about
up.
HR. You were just saying something about HR.
So I submit a conflict of interest statement to HR, as you do, and they say, no, it's actually unconstitutional for you to do this because you're in the executive branch. You cannot exist in more than one branch at a time. So, and even running puts yourself in there. I bring that up because they are different. They're different things. And on the legislative side, yes, there's a Speaker of the House, but the Speaker of the House doesn't necessarily outrank anyone. Like they just have a different job. On the Senate, the head is the Vice President. The Vice President is the one who runs operations in there. So really, being a collective, senator is pretty much equivalent to president in terms of like power or whatever. Of course, the impression is that the president is the leader, the figurehead, the tip of the spear and all those things. And I mean, functionally, that's kind of how it is. But a senator, and specifically a senator who chairs the Appropriations Committee, may be the most powerful person in American government. They control every dollar that is spent by the federal government. Doesn't get more powerful than that. As the SGC learned. We pulled up a leadership moment in the episode. I want to touch on that and one other piece. So, dude, it's great. Kinsey and O'Neill are standing up opposite ends of the table, just getting big and, let's go, man, let's go. Kinsey brings it down. He's like, you need to sit down now, please. Yeah. Jack pauses, glances at Hammond. Hammond gives him a little nod, and he sits down. That's awesome. It's great that Jack, in that moment, understood he didn't see the big picture. He didn't have the view to see everything. How much am I risking? Is this the time for me to go and do it? Hey, boss, what is it? He's like, yeah, this isn't the time. Sit down. So good on O'Neill for recognizing that, and good for Hammond for giving him the right answer, and then good on Jack for them having that trusting that trust, the relationship where they can, hey, is this the right move? No, it's not the right move. Okay. God. When you have trust on your team, like you literally become superheroes. It's amazing. The other thing, like I was bagging on Kinsey earlier for being if. One thing he did that I loved is he kept saying, I intend to. In a work environment, those are some of the most powerful words you can use. I intend to this. Well, I don't think that's a good idea because of X, Y, and Z. Saying you intend to do something actually invites discourse, conversation, and often collaboration. So, I intend, hey, that's a great idea. I know a person who can do this thing that'll help you do that. Or I intend to do this. Oh, maybe you should do it this way instead. And that's what sort of happened here, except he didn't intend it, like he intended to do it and had pretty much already done it. So this is one of the, I have looked forward to watching the next episode every time because I want to see the next episode. This is the first time where I'm like, I want to watch it right now. Like I am really interested in what happens next, which is my for the first time reaction. Brent, what kind of sci-fi messages did you pull out of this one?
Not much. Teal'c had one phenomenal line where he said, what is right cannot be measured by strength. I can't pontificate on that because it's so concise. It's so fully, and he's right. What is right cannot be measured by strength. This is something I could have heard this in any Star Trek episode. I could have heard this in Harry Potter. I could have heard this in Narnia, C.S. Lewis. I feel like I could have heard this from Tolkien. It's a phenomenal line. You know, it's one of those lines that transcends, and it was so just. It needs no more explanation though. What is right cannot be measured by strength. Phenomenal point. Phenomenal point. The rest of it, I mean, this was plot. This was getting through there. We met Kinsey. We could talk. I mean, we could pull out stuff about government interference. A lot of the stuff you just did, you know, government interference and all of this, all of that. No, this is we're introducing conflict to set us up for this big thing because now where are we? The SGC is shut down. Yeah. I would say this. When Teal'c requests to leave, that is a yes, we're going to let you go. This is not a, sorry, I can't even turn it on to let you get out of here. Because now what Kinsey has done is he has made Teal'c a prisoner. You know?
Yeah.
So no, there needs to be final like real world stuff like, yeah, we're going to have to go out. There's loose ends. I guarantee you there are people out there who are waiting on the SG people to return that they need to go like settle something up with, you know? So anyway, that's all I really got, Jeff. I hate to short circuit it, but it was a phenomenal line. The rest of the show was just what the show was. And you know, here's what I love is a lot of times when you see a clip show, it truly is just we can't think of anything better. Let's just throw this in there and save a little bit of money. We blew our budget on something else. And so we're going to do this to save some money. This actually had a plot. It advanced the story. It moved the story of SG1 further along. We are in a different place now at the end of the episode than we were at the beginning of the episode. And despite there being several long clips, as you put it, it had its own beginning, middle, and end.
And the clips made sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, it's just that kind of thing. So, I guess I got to give it a chevron. I'm going to give it, let's see here for that line. What is right? You know, and again, this is one of those where they threw it out there and they didn't do anything with it. He said it and Kinsey like just sort of scoffed it off, you know?
And that was it.
So I'm going to give this one, because the chevron is not just the message that's in there, but how strong was it? What did the thing do with it? I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it one chevron for the one line.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
But I almost want to weight it a lot more. Like I want to give it 2 just because the line was so good, but I'm going to give it 1.
Yeah. It was a great line. But to your point, they did nothing with it.
And for the record, these, just so everybody knows, these ratings are relatively arbitrary.
Yeah.
Don't put too much stock in that.
Kind of made it up. In fact, if you're focused on the rating and not the conversation, you're focused on the wrong part of the show.
Yeah. Because let's focus on the line. What is right cannot be measured by strength. And you don't have to say anything more because it all is contained within that statement. Beautiful. Beautiful statement. That's a Jeff, I'll tell you, that is a tattoo worthy statement.
Yeah.
Like that is a life motto type of a statement.
That's a rally cry of a rebellion, right? You know, I think about the rebels in Star Wars
doomed to failure.
Exactly. Because that's the Rebel Alliance in Star Wars. They should not have won, right? And so there it is.
Right.
And
well, I mean, that's the civil rights movement should not have won. That's Gandhi, people over in India trying to get the British out. People should not have won. The American Revolution should not have won. You know,
apartheid in South Africa.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely, and you know, hopefully we'll see that with a few other things here in our world today.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah. So Jeff, I did chevrons. I gave it 1. You, my friend, however, get probably the more fun job. You get to insert this on the ranking. How much did we like the episode for the rankings? This is our 100% completely accurate, immutable ranking of Stargate SG1 Season 1. Our current top 5 is Torment of Tantalus, Nox, Enigma, Cold Lazarus, Core-Eye. Core-Eye is really number 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really? I liked Core-Eye.
Okay.
That was a good episode.
All right. I like Core-Eye. I didn't know number 5 though. It's, as we said earlier, it's been a while since we've recorded one of these. Jeff, I don't know that this is going to crack top 5, but where do you place this on the list? I'm really interested in this. I have no idea where you're going with this.
This is a clip show. So, I mean, it can't be great, right? I mean, there's never a good clip show.
Really? Because I think this was a pretty damn good clip show.
It's exactly where I was going. I really liked this episode.
I was about to stump for this episode. I was like, dude.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this one a lot. And like you said, it moved the plot along. It introduced us to a new character. It gave us a cliffhanger that I care about, that matters.
Yeah.
It was really well done. Now, one of my complaints about a couple of the episodes this season have been, it was a 35-minute long episode. They stretched to 44. This one I can say it was a 22-minute long episode. They stretched to 44, but they did it by plopping clips in, and we understand why they made those clips. I think as far as ranking this one goes, it's hard to rank this one because it sets up what's coming. And so
you don't know what that is.
Yeah. So taking it on its own right now, it's like this could actually suck. Like this could be a horrible episode based on how it goes next. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah. Jeff, can I just, as you're doing this right now,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to rank this on its merit of itself as an episode, and you have my full permission after we see where this is going to revisit this ranking and move it around.
Okay.
Once you know where it's going. You have full permission to do that. But right now, put it on its own merit.
Because this list is immutable until it's not.
Yeah.
That's our rule. I'll tell you where I'm looking on this. Because, I mean, gosh, we've talked about this so much, so I'm not going to belabor the point, but this is a list of great episodes. This has been a phenomenal first season, especially for in the mid to late 90s. This has been really good. I look at this and I fall in that neighborhood. I'm looking like at Thor's Hammer, Solitudes, Tin Man. So that's numbers 10, 11, and 12 that I'm kind of drawn to right out of the gate. I'm this might make you happy. I'm starting to really question my placement of Singularity. Starting to. Just going to say
Wait,
that.
Singularity? That's the Cassie episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just questioning it a little bit.
Okay.
That's not going to come into play on this one, though, because I think it's going to stay essentially where it's at.
Yeah.
Politics is going to go as our new number 14, right below Singularity.
Wow.
I was tempted to put it at number 12, actually above Tin Man, but I really liked Tin Man. I like all of these. Like I want to be clear. I liked a lot of these. Politics at 14 isn't bad. I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. That is still within the good episodes. Just if you make me put them in order, I still can't believe that Solitudes and frankly, Children of the Gods should be way higher. It really should. Solitude should be higher. Thor's Hammer, I can kind of see where you're with that one, but I know where it goes, and I think I'm reviewing that episode based on where it goes, not necessarily what is. Bloodline seems way too high to me. Core-Eye and Brief Candle are both good, but I would drop them into that next tier. Does that make sense? But that's Brent's ranking, who's seen this episode. This is Jeff's immutable, 100% completely accurate ranking. So 14 is politics.
It is.
Oh, Jeff, for the record, we did get, we'll add the tracking sheet. We got 1 for crying out loud.
Yep.
Brings us up to 9 so far for season 1. We've
We
had
got
a
a-
Daniel death on-screen Daniel death,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was in the Knox episode.
Yep.
We had the fake out one with Fire and Water, but he didn't get the death scene. And we're still waiting on some other things. Jeff, with that's going to do it for politics. Next time, would you like to know what we're doing next time?
Yeah, I'm very curious, actually.
Buckle in, because we are doing, as you may guess, the season 1 finale. But wait, there's more. This is a 2-parter, and we've decided to do 2-parters as 1 episode.
Yeah.
So we're doing the season 1 finale, season 2 premiere. Titles of the episodes. I'm going to make you guess this one, but I think they might be a little bit of a giveaway. Take the entirety of season 1 and put it together. The next episode is Within the Serpent's Grasp. And the one after that is Serpent's Lair.
Oh.
So what do you think?
Within Serpent's Grasp, that's the Gould coming and like with like, we're gonna get you. Here's the battle we've been building to in these last couple of episodes. This is how this is gonna come up. It's then gonna advance to in the Serpent's Lair. They're going to probably Chulak, and I called it in our very first episode. They're going after Sha'Ray and Skara. I don't know that they're going to end up going after them, but they're going to play a role in this one. If they want to be dirty about it, which they do, you've told me they had bought 2 seasons of this right out of the gate. So they're not going to want to wrap up storylines this soon. So I actually see in the first episode of season 2, I can see Sha'Ray kind of screwing over SG1 somehow, like kind of playing a little dirty. So we're going to get the battle. We're going to get some fighty stuff. We might even see a Gould ship on the series, because they teased us with a clip from the movie on this. So we might see that. We're going to end up taking Apophis on at home. I don't know that they're going to defeat Apophis, and I think it's going to be because of some chicanery by Sha'Ray.
Okay. You're a good guesser, Jeff.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Well, we will see next time right here, Stargate SG1 for the first time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hey, while you're here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, wherever you get your podcast or your YouTube. Please also make sure to leave us a rating and review. That really helps us out a whole lot. And please be sure to share this show with a friend of yours who either already loves SG1 and just wants to revisit it, or somebody who, like my friend Jeff over there, needs to get into the gate for the very first time. And with that, until next time, folks, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Brent.
Yeah, Jeff, what's up?
It's been a little while since we've recorded one of these. We talked about that, right?
It has. Yes.
In the meantime, like between these things, I had this weird dream. Like I fell asleep and it was just like, you were there. You were there. You were all there. It was such a crazy dream.
Oh, for crying out loud, General.